What a good day. What a wonderful thing you're doing here.
We need to find more formats like you're doing now to keep this going now, and also when we get back.
Everything in those comments is so empowering, so supportive, so beautiful, and that is what we do in the room every month.
This was not 100% what I expected, which is good.
People will really, really need it.
It's really important to us to use Singular Sensation, yes, as a safe gathering place, but also as a place to amplify and support and offer a safe space too.
How do you get so good at this?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Singular Sensation Online. It is Monday, March the 22nd. It is spring. The birds are singing. Well, not right now because it's at night, but maybe when you're watching, they'll be singing wherever you are. There's hope in the air, and I'm really excited for our show this evening. We are broadcasting from the traditional territory of the Algonquin and the Anishinaabe. This, what we now call the Ottawa Valley. I was born and raised on this land, and it has given me so many beautiful opportunities I've been privileged to experience in my time here. It taught me the importance of community, and it fostered my love of performing and sharing with my community, which is what Singular Sensation is all about. And it's our hope that by bringing this show to you at this time, that we can in some small way give back to the land and to the community that has done so much. I'm so privileged to live and work on this land, to have known clean drinking water, safe housing, and to really have lived a life of privilege. And I hope that in my time through our work here, that we're able to give back and educate and inspire our community through this show. So we thank you so much for watching and tuning in, whether you're tuning in live or tuning in later. Let us know where you are joining us from this evening. And if you don't know the land that you're joining us from, nativeland.ca, great, is a really wonderful resource. It can help you learn a bit more about where you are. And I think it's really important that we know these things. This is where I get nervous in this show when we're about to welcome people on and have conversations. I'm just going to say it because I'm slowly turning red. But we're human, and that's the fun of it. And, you know, it's as close to live theater as we're going to get right now, isn't it? So we're all going to take a breath. And we're going to enjoy our first show of spring. It's spring. Spring's my jam. It really is. So we have an awesome show lined up for you this evening. We have Samantha Walks and Joella Crichton from the Black Pledge Collective joining us. We'll also feature a conversation that I had with the amazing Sierra Holder yesterday. We met yesterday for this segment. What a 20-minute segment. It was like a 2.5-hour conversation. Don't ask me how I limited it to 20 minutes, but somehow I did. But we'll talk a bit more about that later on. We'll also talk with Ali Momen. We spoke with him in the summer about his Arts New Deal initiative. He has been a huge advocate for the arts since the pandemic started just over a year ago, and has gone from being part of the cast of the Toronto production of Come From Away, and now he's running for office. So we're going to talk to him about what his campaign is, what his plans are, and how we can support him. And our musical guest tonight, she is a tour de force. Oh my gosh, Maya Killtron is here, and it is going to blow your socks off. So get ready to be inspired, get ready to move and be moved, because we have got a show for you tonight. Let's get started.
Freezes just like ice, and there's a cold and lonely light that shines from you. You wind up like the wreck you hide behind that mask you use. And did you think this fool could never win? Well, need to know while I'm still standing. You just fade away. Don't you know I'm still standing better than I ever did? Looking like a true survivor, feeling like a little kid. And I'm still standing after all this time, picking up the pieces of my life without you on my mind. I'm still standing. I'm still standing. Once I never could have hoped to win. You're starting down the road and leaving me again. The threats you made were meant to cut me down. And if my love was just a circus, you'd be a clown by now. No, I'm still standing better than I ever did. Looking like a true survivor, feeling like a little kid. I'm still standing after all this time, picking up the pieces of my life without you on my mind. I'm still standing. I'm still standing. I'm still standing better than I ever did. Looking like a true survivor, feeling like a little kid. I'm still standing after all this time, picking up the pieces of my life without you on my mind. I'm still standing. 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 I'm still standing.
Yeah. Oh, hi. I didn't see you there. I was just jamming out. Oh my gosh, doesn't that just fill you with joy to see Broadway and to see dancing and our very own Astrid Van Wieren? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, that song's going to be in my head for the rest of the night, and lucky me. So we just want to say thank you so much to Richard J. Hinds, who's the director and choreographer of that piece, for letting us share it during the show tonight. You can learn more by check out B-Way Still Standing on Instagram. And speaking of Instagram, if you don't follow us already, you're welcome to do so. If you like. We post all about our guests, all about exciting things going on in the business and exciting things that we want you to know about. So give us a follow at @singular_sensation. There we are. All right. We are starting our show off tonight with our community segment, and I'm so excited to talk to our guests here today. Here at Singular, it's important to us to use this time while we're in this, extended pause with a captive audience. When we're a live show, we're, in a venue, it's loud, we're singing and celebrating, but now we really have an opportunity to have some really great conversations with people who are changing the game in our community. And it's really important to us to keep talking about conversations that have talking about inclusion and representation, as well as the safe and equitable practices in our community. Now, there's been a lot of conversation about the demand for more thorough and rigorous anti-racist practices in our performing community. And our next guests have created a movement for organizations to put these conversations into action. So please join me in welcoming Joella Crichton and Samantha Walks of the Black Pledge Collective. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
Hi. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, it's absolutely our pleasure. Now, the Black Pledge Collective, composed of a group of incredible Black artists led by Sedna Fiati, who I had the pleasure of working with at the 120 Diner on her cabaret. And she is amazing. So I can just imagine what the room of the entire collective, well, I guess the screen at this point, that energy must just be absolutely, what that screen must feel like, the things we'll look back on and say, wait, what? How did we do that? Because we're artists and we're amazing. The collective is full of this amazing group of women in the arts. You have actors, writers, directors, producers, broadcasters, award winners, doctors, PhD candidates, activists. What an extraordinary group of powerful women. How did you all come together to form the Black Pledge Collective?
Well, there was a group called the Wind Down that started last year, and it was all Black female group of theater practitioners and artists. And we used to meet once a month to read plays. And then because COVID hit, obviously, and kind of threw everyone for a loop, we started to meet more often. And that's how we got to know each other a little bit better. So Sedna actually emailed the Wind Down group and said, hey, I have this great idea. It's something I think is important at the time because the Black Lives Matter movement was really happening. And so she reached out to people, and whoever in the Wind Down wanted to work with her on the pledge, she was open to that. So we all joined and started working with her on the pledge, and that's kind of how the collective started.
I love that. Yeah. So the pledge itself is the inaugural offering of the collective. It's a thorough and comprehensive document available on your website, the blackpledge.ca. It's a gorgeous website. It is so, I've been through it a couple of times preparing for the show, and the work you have done on this is absolutely incredible and so generous. So thank you so much for what you are doing for our community. Yes, we have the website. It was right there. Can you give us an idea? There's a 13-page document on the website in detail, but is there a Cliff's Notes version we can talk about for our audience tonight, and then we'll send them to the website to look in detail at this?
Absolutely. So I just wanted to clarify the website. It's theblackpledge.ca, but I'm sure you'll find it if you Google it. So it's an offering. It's a series of commitments that we offer to live arts organizations in theater, dance, and opera. And we ask for a 3-year commitment in dismantling anti-Black racism at a structural level, right? We want to affirm and advance our people in Black communities who are in these live arts performance spaces. And so we look at actually 4 capacity-based, what we like to call capacity-based commitments: hiring and casting, programming, Black community support and reciprocity, and then we look at training and development. And we look at the Black Pledge, like I said, as an offering, as a roadmap. We really wanted this to be a document that could circulate in our industry, as a free of charge. Of course, it's all of our volunteer hours, our hard work, sweat, blood, and tears. But we thought that it was very important that we have answers now, that we have some sort of action plan in place for our community to really grab hold of and start using, and not waste any time, because the time is now.
Mm-hmm. What was the development process like putting this roadmap together?
Oh, it was a long one, but it was worth it. After our first, we have many drafts of the pledge, but we sort of actually kind of worked together to come up with a pledge that we were all happy with, that all of our opinions and thoughts were placed in. And then from there, we reached out to other community members, Black community members, for their input, and kind of structured and made changes around the pledge based on what they responded to us. We actually spoke at the PACTCon in 2020, which is the Professional Association of Canadian Theatres conference. Mm-hmm. and we were looking for feedback, but it was so great to talk to everybody there. There was tons of theater companies there and people who work in the arts, and their feedback was so generous and kind of made us know for sure that we had to complete this, and this is something that really needs to be out there. So, it is based on love, and it really is a community-based work, and a lot of time and effort to hear what's happening in the community and to make it work for all of us.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think what we've been hearing in terms of feedback is just how it's been really positive, first of all, but also, we sent this out to other Black artists, across this area and said, hey, weigh in on this. Tell us where we're missing, where our holes are, where we may have missed the mark, or there's other things that, intersectional approach is a huge part of this pledge. And so it was really great to have all that feedback come back and then implement that, which, was a lot of work, but it's great because now we can offer this document and say, this is not just this collective that stands behind this. This is the whole, in a whole, we are a Black community of artists and art practitioners that say, hey, we have our fingerprints on this. This is our baby. And so that's really powerful. I think we stand as a face of collective for many, which is great.
That's beautiful. Thank you. Now, as Canadians, and especially as artists, we like to think of ourselves as very inclusive, super welcoming, very liberal. There are some people in this country that think racism does not exist, and we enjoy that, soapbox we sometimes like to sit on. But that is not true. That is not so, even in our community. Can we talk a bit about some of the ways in which live art spaces have not fully and openly invited Black artists, Black communities as equal participants on live art stages and in the audience? I'd love to hand it over to you to maybe we can enlighten and maybe educate our audience about this. And I thank you for the opportunity for our viewers to learn about this side of our industry that maybe people aren't aware of, and that we definitely don't talk about it enough.
I think all of us in the collective have had micro and macro aggressions in this field. I think it's important to highlight, that in our work, we tell stories. And as we're standing on stage or in front of a camera, and we tell these stories, we have all of these things that help us do that, costumes, lighting, sound. And as, rich melanin artists, we need certain things that are different, like different lighting. We need tights that have our skin tone. And these things help paint the picture. And they might seem small. They might seem insignificant in telling the story, but aren't all of those aspects how we start to create the world that we bring our audience in to live in with us? And so if we don't have access to those things that make us feel like that character or feel like we're part of that story and that community on stage, we enter at a disadvantage already. And I will say this, and I know, Joelle, I'm going to throw it to you because we have had many talks about, just our different experiences. But I think one that really has been something that I've had to really heal from in my journey as an artist is the lack of education that institutions deem unimportant. If you're going to program Black work and you're serving it up to very white audiences who are not educated, it was in those times I felt like a puppet and not an artist. I felt like I was tokenized and on display instead of celebrated, instead of the voice being amplified. It was snuffed out because we didn't have our institution standing behind us and doing their part in saying, okay, we know what type of audience we have. Let's invite them and build bridges of education so that when we do put this story on stage, they get the message, they get it, and then it's a partnership, and then it's a community building exercise even, and it can be celebrated in the way it was meant to.
Yeah, I think too, just to add to that, Sam, what you said was great. And I do feel like it's really important for stages to reflect the mosaic that actually exists in Canada. Um, it's quite alienating to go to a show and not see anybody that looks like you or looks like your neighbor, or to not have stories told that include people like you. And the reason why that's important is because when you're doing storytelling and you're only telling one part of a community's existence, you sort of make them, you push those people away, and you make that one community feel like they matter more than the other community. And that's not true. We're all one big community. All of our stories are, important. And, even, when you think about just growing up in Canada, or my experience going to the theater when I was younger, you just didn't see people like me on stage. And that doesn't make you feel welcomed. So, it's highly important for me to get that message across, that it's not just about saying, okay, well, let's check this box and get the one Asian, the one Black person, the one Indigenous person on stage. That's not okay, because that actually also is harmful to that artist. It's important to really dig into the work, to really look at what the issues are, and to create safe spaces. And I think that's what the pledge does. And that's what we're hoping for the future of theater and of any performance, really, across Canada.
Mm-hmm. And that makes all the difference between tokenism and representation, or
Right.
inclusion, to do it thoroughly and to, yeah, like you're saying, not just tick a box. And I feel like we use the word community a lot, but are we backing it up with action, or are we using it because it's a nice word that brings people in? But what is keeping the people there, and is it safe? Is it responsible?
Right.
So what you're doing is such a huge service to our community. So again, I've said it before, but just thank you so much for the time and the care and the labor going into all of this, so that our community can step up and put all of these conversations we're having truly into action to make a safer, truly inclusive and representative community for everybody, not just sort of an empty promise for an optic, which is dangerous.
Yeah, and it's because of the awareness that has happened over the past year, it's clear that theater companies are attempting to make the change, and everybody seems to be in their own little bubbles, and they're not really communicating with each other. They're all doing their own EDI work, EDI meaning equity, diversity, inclusion. But there's something more, there's something bigger than that, in my opinion. There's, it has to be about the community. It has to be bringing the people in and making the stories that, represent the community, and not just saying, oh no, this is a scary time and I better do what's right. The work can be really transformative for, on a structural level, but it could also be transformative for the individual. And that's the kind of world that we want to live in. We want people to make the deeper changes personally, so that when they leave the theater, it continues into their lives. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything else that you'd like to say to our viewers, to take this time to take the stage, and is there anything else you'd like us to know about the pledge, or about the work that is happening, changes that we need to make happen now? Like you're saying, the time is now, and I love that, because it is. There's no better time than right now, and we have the time right now. Not that we should need a pandemic to stop us to do this kind of work, but I hand it over to you for last words.
I think we've been having a lot of conversation with different organizations recently, and since the launch, and I think there's two things that keep coming up across the board, and one is the idea of accountability. And I think one thing that I would just love to leave here on this table is just remembering that in this time of pandemic, we've been segregated in ways that we could never have imagined. We've been removed from community. And it's actually something that we need to grow. We can't be achieve our excellence, our individual and collective excellence on our own. I really believe that we can do it best in community together. And so the collective's whole purpose in helping organizations implement this roadmap is about transparency within community and holding ourselves accountable to that relationship building. And it's not about wagging a finger. It's not about getting it right the first time. We're not. We're going to stumble in the dark together because no one has the keys to every door. But this pledge does offer a lot of them. And it's a labor of love first. And so we offer it to everyone in that same way. And we hope it's received that way. I think accountability is one of the most beautiful things in relationship. I think it helps us to, again, achieve our best self. And so that's what we want for our industry. We want to come back from this pandemic and enter back into this industry and have it changed, not just a facelift. We want, we want the change to seep deep into the root systems that make art, so that it's long-standing and it continues for generations.
Oh, you gave me goosebumps with that. Deep into the roots. That is so beautiful. Joella, is there anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, I would love all the viewers to know that there's also an individual pledge. So you can be part of an organization. Yes. And the reason why I think that is so important is because I think real change does come from individuals and comes from creative thinking. And you might think that you don't have the power to make change or to hold someone accountable, but you do. Yes. And I'm standing behind you, and we're all standing behind you when you make these choices. And if you desire to see a better world, then I recommend that you look into figuring out ways that you can live your life by making your own version of a pledge or your own commitments. So, yeah.
Amazing. And theblackpledge.ca. I look forward to making the pledge as an individual.
Oh, thank you.
And I invite everyone watching either live or afterwards it lives on YouTube now. So no reason to not know about this because we're going to live forever on YouTube. So I encourage everyone watching this, theblackpledge.ca, whether you're an organization or an individual, you can take part in this. It is an incredible, thorough, comprehensive, like you said, roadmap. It is absolutely incredible and generous work that you have done. Singular Sensation will be making a donation. I can't thank you enough for your time, for your work, for your generosity and your authenticity and vulnerability joining us tonight. Thank you so, so much. You were both just such stunning humans, and I'm so grateful that we had a chance to chat tonight.
Thank you.
We're honored. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Take care to you both.
Bye.
Bye. That was Joella Crichton and Samantha Walks from the Black Pledge Collective. Go to www.theblackpledge.ca. Learn about it. Don't be intimidated. I know we want to do the right thing. We want to be perfect. We don't want to make a mistake. Y'all, we're going to fuck up. I literally fucked up this show already by not setting up a clip later that you're going to see me fix. So listen, we're human. That's part of it. The point is to try. And the ladies in the Black Pledge Collective have gone to extensive time and labor to put this together for us. So I really encourage you to visit theblackpledge.ca and take the pledge. Before we welcome our musical guest that I'm so pumped for you to get to watch, I want to tell you about something going on in our community. We have Inday, a night of super important Filipina poetry happening this weekend. It is going on Saturday. Nope, that's April 3rd. Where did that come from? See, guys, you don't have to be perfect. You really don't. Oh, no, it is Saturday, April 3rd. See? I'm more prepared than I give myself credit for. So it is a super important night of Filipino poetry featuring Filipino poets from the Pluma Collective and the Palanga Prison Art Project. Someone needed to have a glass of water. They'll be celebrating the launch of Alia Rasul's new book, Super Important Filipino Thoughts, and it is hosted by Alia, who is part of the Tita Collective, who we welcomed on the show this past summer, and Francie Stonner. All the proceeds of this event will be used to pay for the artist's honorarium, and the rest of the purchase will be going towards a laptop for the women who are part of the Inday Dolls Prison Art Project, and their goal is to reach $2,000. To find more information on this, we really would love for you to attend this. We will be there. www.facebook.com/Inday Dolls. So we would love for you to lend them your support. Oh my gosh, I'm so not even on the screen yet. Oh, hello there. Hi there, I'm back. I'm so excited to welcome our musical guest. She is a singer, songwriter, educator. She has her own record label. She is a boss, and my favorite credit, she's the voice of Eggo Waffles. Please welcome to the show, Maya Killtron, the one, the only. Hello, welcome.
Hi, how are you?
I'm so good. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm so excited.
Oh, I'm really excited to be here. I just watched that segment. That was great.
They're incredible. That group of women is boss level. This whole show is boss level, and I include you in that boss category because there's not even enough time in the show to talk about all of the amazing things that you're doing, that you've done. Maya, what's been kind of getting you through this dumpster fire festival of a time these days?
Well, I've been free eating, which has been nice.
Yes.
Unbridled and without conscience, which has been really nice. But I know everyone deals with stress and panic in different ways. So for me, I tend to dive into projects, and 99% of them don't work out or don't turn into anything. But then you have this 1% that does keep going. So always just trying something new and trying to stay on top of, building new programs or just writing new music or getting into grants. And I got a really good piece of advice from someone that said when you're really angry or upset, or even if that has nothing to do with somebody doing something to you or just the world, you just have to help someone else. So that's been something I've been trying to do.
Oh, that's beautiful. And I love what you say about just trying things, just exploring, and it doesn't all have to hit. It doesn't all have to be perfect. Like we were just talking about in the past segment, not everything is going to be a huge success, but at least you're trying and you're working on it and you're investing and growing.
Especially, exactly what you were talking about earlier with social change is everyone's very afraid of making a mistake and being a bad guy. But in fact, you're the bad guy if you don't do anything at all. And you have to have this willingness to fail in order to actuate change. And that's really, really important. And to be willing to take the L. Because you know that the end goal is more important than how you feel about making a mistake. And you probably will, like you said, you will likely make a mistake along the way. Like we all have a lot of unlearning to do. So making sure that maybe you won't be comfortable with it, but knowing that it might happen will make it easier for you to take the risk to do something that will make life better for a whole lot of people.
My therapist says just because it feels hard doesn't mean it's not good work.
That's true, yeah.
Exactly. And we were talking, our segment with Sierra Holder is coming up in a little bit, but we talked a lot about, it'll be in the extended version because we talked forever, but we talked a lot about unlearning. And there's a lot to do collectively. And I love that we kind of have this captive audience, because if it was the open mic and you were there, we'd sing, and that's probably it. But you have so much to say as well. So I'm really glad that we get to connect and have these conversations about that, because the more, we talk about it, I feel like collectively, the more we'll be able to move forward instead of, if it's not perfect, I have to keep it down.
Yeah, or just general passivity is not really acceptable anymore. or it never really was, but I mean, you know what I mean?
we've hit a tipping point, really. I mean, maybe a bit late to the party wise, but I think, it's time. It's been time for a while.
Definitely. Yeah, I agree with you 100%.
So what will you be? You've got a couple of songs for us this evening. I can't wait. I've got my dancing shoes on. I'm going to have a party in, my big gay basement back here.
Yeah, I've got 2 songs for you. One is from my most recent EP that came out in the dumpster fire. That was 2020. So the song lives on.
Woo! And you have your own. You made in 2020. Speaking of music, in 2020, you created your own record label.
Yep.
Damn, girl.
Well, if no one is going to sign you, then you sign yourself.
Yes. This episode has so many quotes. So many. We're gonna have a whole line of t-shirts by 10 o'clock tonight.
It's very simple. I mean, it's not actually, but but it just, I'm not really in a position to wait around, and you sort of have to do things for yourself. And again, that goes back to that whole philosophy of it was a lot of fails. It didn't just show up on my doorstep. It's a lot of failing and trying and making the wrong decision many, many times over. And then, you start to get some wins and you start to build momentum. But again, it's not alone. I had a lot of help, and you ask advice when you need it and listen to the advice and also act on it instead of taking, a few seconds and being like, you know what, I'm just going to do whatever I want.
Yeah. And then you wonder, why is this not working?
Yeah. And then you go back to that person and they're not really interested anymore because you're an idiot. Yeah.
I mean, and then you move on to other people and you learn not to be an idiot. I mean, it's all a cycle of learning and life and growth, the beautiful cycle of growth.
Not always the loveliest, but it certainly is growth. So that's the main point.
It certainly is. It is absolutely. Well, Maya, thank you for this gold that you're giving us tonight, on top of the vocal gold that's about to happen. So everyone, please give it up for Maya Killtron.
And just let us know if we need to make any sound adjustments. I'll be watching, but otherwise, I'd love to introduce you guys to DJ Cosmo, and we're going to start things off with The Middle. We've passed those endless days of summer, cruise beyond the honeymoon, gave our promises of autumn. Stability can't come too soon. Don't get it twisted, I still want you. We got the fire with the beat. You got my number more than ever. Well, lock that door, away the key. So what I know about you and me is real. 'Cause every morning when I wake up next to you, you make me feel. Ain't nothing wrong, get the middle. We work so hard just to find a place here. Still got feedback, let's settle. And together we will keep it moving on. Whoa, 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 oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Don't rumors fly with juicy secrets. They love to spit it till they shed. But nobody knows exactly what goes on between us. Even guessing till they dread. But what I know about you and me is real. 'Cause every morning when I wake up next to you, you make me feel. Ain't nothing wrong with the middle. Thank you so much. That was The Middle, and we're going to do one more for you back to back. This is from my first album, Never Dance Alone, and this is called Whiplash. With another, if you walk into my life, one look and my heart was undercover. Eyes were closed before you. I knew I had to have you. You know my favorite mistake. Boy, you got me with you're always doing it right. Boy, you got me with so won't you ever unite? Boy, you got me with so won't you ever unite? Boy, you got me wouldn't last forever. Everybody could see. Sometimes, but I never paid attention. The one with feelings was me. You walked away and left me. You found an easy escape. I'm alone. I wish I had you. You're my favorite mistake. Oh, you got me with that. Doing it right. Oh, you got me with that. So won't you ever unite? Oh, you got me with that. Doing it right. It's hard to break away from nothing that was so good. So I can't go back to something. I should take time to leave somebody. Give me. Don't ask me why. Don't ask me why. Boy, you got me with that. You're always doing it right. Boy, you got me with that. Yeah. So I bet you ain't gonna ignite. Boy, you got me with that. You're always doing it right. Boy, you got me with that. And I still want you every night. Boy, you're always doing it right. Boy, you got me with that. Right? So want you every night. Boy, you're always doing it right. Boy, and I still want you every night.
Maya Killtron! Oh my god, what a bop! Both of them! Oh my gosh!
Thank you.
Oh, that was so much fun! Thank you both! Hey, back there! So, MayaKilltron.com. What's coming up for you next? What can we look for in the future from Maya Killtron?
Well, season 2 of my YouTube show, Fired Up, is coming out in a few weeks. We're filming episodes right now. It's basically just myself and DJ Cosmo are the main cast, circa COVID. So we eat food and critique it, and only neighborhood restaurants. So if you live downtown Toronto and you want to check out a restaurant, we might have featured it. So then you'll get a very biased review.
I love this. I went down a rabbit hole of people that went to 7-Elevens and only ate at 7-Eleven for like days at a time for every meal, like in different cities around the world.
Probably only works in Japan.
Well, they did an Australian one, and then they compared it to one in North America, and North America really fell short. But we do that. But I'm now going to look at this instead. I'm done with 7-Eleven. Tell everybody what the show is called again, so we can all send them to watch season 2.
The show is called Fired Up. Season 1 is on my YouTube channel, and it is our first foray into the world of YouTube miniseries, and we'll be releasing season 2 shortly. But in addition to that, I also am a singer, and I have
You're a singer?
I do dabble. And I have a new single coming out in the late spring and a music video. And then I'm chugging away at an album for early 2022.
Dang, the unstoppable Maya Killtron.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for that party in a box. Literally, and just all the best with the single, with the album, with the YouTube show, with Bode Arts Toronto,
Thank you.
The string school you founded. Guys, go to the website, mayakilltron.com. You will not have enough time in a day to process all of the amazing things that this individual does. Maya, so good to see you. Congrats.
So good to see you too.
All the best moving forward. Thanks to you today.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Oh my gosh, what a bop! Woo! Oh, I love an 80s synth. I just do. I really do. It's unlike anything else. What else is going on in our community? We had these guys on our show last episode. The Performance Collective are presenting Co-Align, hosted by The Collective. It's a night that will feature an introduction of the Performance Collective's founding members, features of the Collective members' past work, their special previews of upcoming projects, and original works created exclusively for their launch. This is coming up this Saturday, which is March 27th. It is happening at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and it is pay what you can. So check out the Performance Collective Toronto, TO, sorry. Wow, I know how to read. Performance Collective TO.com to learn more, and that is happening this Saturday. Very cool. So earlier, I mentioned that we pre-recorded a segment with Sierra Holder. She was a performer. She's a community leader. She's one of the co-founders of Diva Day. And like I said, we talked for hours, and it was an incredible segment. But what I did tell you when we were talking about not being perfect, oh, well, that's fun. Oh, hi, see? There's an example. I like to lead by example. So we're going to bring up our segment with Sierra a little bit later, but we're going to jump because we have a guest backstage who is making waves, changing the game from the inside out. He joined us in the summer talking about Arts New Deal. He has been a strong advocate for our artistic community since COVID hit. Over a year ago. Woof. And now he is taking it to the next level, and he is running for office. But don't take my word for it, because he can tell you about it way better than I am. And that's why he's here tonight. Everyone, please join me in welcoming Ali Momen to the stage. To the stage.
How you doing? The stage. It's all the world's the stage.
And we're all just players.
Players,
welcome back.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
My gosh, congratulations on this incredible new journey that you're on. Oh my gosh.
Thank you. That's so kind of you. Thank you.
No, well, listen, the idea of having, I guess, one of us, like an artist.
Like a Manchurian candidate? Is that what this is?
So we had you here in the summer talking about Arts New Deal, which was a way of offering new support to the arts sector. And now, when did you decide to, run for the Ontario Liberal nomination for Trinity St.
You're writing.
Yeah, it's
basically because, well, first I found out you were there, and then I said, what can I do for Jeni Walls? And then I went from there. No, this is something that people that really know me well, no one's really surprised by this much.
No.
This is something that's kind of been percolating inside me for a very, very long time, and obviously, but then COVID happened, then George Floyd happened, And then, the question that you get asked all the time is like, why are you running? But, really after this year, it really shifted from like, how could I not be? And you just kind of see everything that's going on in this world and everything that's happening outside and everything that's happening inside. And it's like, what can I do? And how can I just, make things better? But then the other thing ultimately you say to yourself is like, why me? Why not somebody else? Because everybody has ideas. Everybody wants to do the things. I think I have good ideas, but, for me, it really was about what happens if, politics can intersect with like the world that we both know, a world that is creative, a world that is imaginative, a world that is empathetic, a world that is forward-looking and is collaborative. What happens if we can do that? And that's kind of the thesis for, the campaign. So,
I mean, I'm not really surprised.
Yeah, I mean, people who know me are like, yeah,
like, oh,
we saw this coming.
What's happening? Also, you have like the best camera.
Yeah. Listen. Basically, I've learned to attach my SLR to my laptop, and it's just like taking it to the wherever I go in life. I'm just gonna blame the camera. I'm gonna
Yeah, same. Me too.
Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say.
And then I'm gonna blame you for giving me that excuse. So tell us, you're running for the nomination.
Yes.
So for people like me who want to support and also want to learn how that system all works, can you take us through sort of what the process is leading up to that? Because you have to become a nominee before you can go the next leg of the journey.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Not a lot of people know how this cookie is made. And I feel that is an absolute and utter kind of like disservice to the democracy that we're in. What people need to realize is that every single election, whether it's provincial or federal, you have a say not just in the party that is going to be on that ballot when you go, but you have a say in the person that's going to be there. And anybody who lives in Toronto, St. Paul's, or if this was another riding somewhere else, you are allowed to nominate a person for the party to be on the ballot. Now, you have to become a member of the party, but right now, becoming a member of the party is so simple. It's so easy. Anyone can become a member of the Ontario Liberal Party. It's free, so you do it. But it's really great to have like a say in, again, not just the party, but the person, because at the end of the day, it's like, yes, parties are, they're set, but they're not monoliths. And sometimes, having the best candidates really makes a difference. Really, really makes a difference. So if you want to nominate me, for instance, you just go to alimomen.ca, you register, we set you up, and then when the nomination meeting is called, you basically are going to virtually show up and say, I want Ali to be on the ballot. I want this guy to be on the ballot. To be on the ballot.
And I think maybe most people don't realize how much say and how much agency they actually do have in their government.
Yeah, huge. And the other thing that's really interesting, Jenny, is that everything is politics. Everything is government. The road you walk on is government. The air you breathe is government. It's all government. The funding that is there that isn't there. The funding that goes to one place and doesn't go to another place. It's all government. So I think the most important thing for us or anybody, any group, right now specifically we're speaking to the arts, organize, mobilize, politicize. Get into government. And if you're not going to get into government, get to the point where you form enough of a strong enough voice so that you start being able to sway government. So if I was like thinking about something right now, I would literally create like a group in which politicians would have to go to said group and they would have to say, I need your support. And if I get your support, then, we'll get the votes. So what ends up happening is that, our groups of artists should start endorsing politicians to say this person, not this person. That's what you have to do. Because everyone else does it when you think about it. When you think of all the interest groups out there, there's so many interest groups and they all they're organized and politicians go to that organization and they tell them what's up. So artists need to start doing that as well too.
So you're running for the nomination, Trinity
I'm
St.
running.
Paul's. So Ali, tell us what's up. What are you gonna do? This is your time. Tell us.
Yeah, great. Well, look, there's obviously all the kind of stuff that I believe in respect to the arts, and I kind of feel like, I've been speaking about it a lot. So I'll briefly go there. I'll say, obviously double the funding to the Ontario Arts Council, reinstate the Indigenous Culture Fund, which Doug Ford cut. Unbelievable, ridiculous, remarkable, but not surprising.
Those all describe him very well.
Yeah, right? Like remarkable, yet like, yeah, that makes sense.
Shocked but not surprised.
Shocked but not surprised, but very sad. So we're gonna get all that back. The other thing we're thinking about is an arts and culture tax credit because, there's so much money that is, there's not enough money, but when money is given to the arts, there isn't, a lot of it isn't touched. A lot of it isn't seen. And it's very important for that to happen because, there's the first order effect of art, which is, the beautiful thing, the thing that's made. But there is that second order effect of art in that we all know that it literally lights up cities, it lights up communities, it drives money into the economy. And I feel like there's just not enough people touching art. So if we made it more accessible to people, if everybody got a certain bit of money that they can go spend to consume art, I think that would be really great. I really think a lot of people, like for instance, I'm Persian, right? So I came to this country when I was 3. If it wasn't for me being in the theater, I can guarantee you that my immigrant family would not go to the theater. But they went to the theater and now they love the theater and they will continue to go to the theater. We have to make people touch this stuff. And the more people touch it, the more they're going to want it. So those are the most important things. But I will tell you something. Sometimes the most limiting factor for artists to succeed are the limiting factors for everybody to succeed. One of the things that stops a female artist, for instance, from going as far as she should go isn't arts funding, it's childcare. It's not having affordable and accessible childcare. There's actually been sociological studies that will tell you that it's childcare that's limiting people. Affordable housing. Right now in Toronto, St. Paul's, for instance, the number one demographic is single folk. Is people who live in single dwelling units, like one person. Now, most people in downtown Toronto, they're spending like upwards of 60 to 90% of their income is going into their housing. 60 to 90%. You talk to a financial advisor, that financial advisor is going to tell you that 30% is a safe way to go. 30%. Who is paying 30% for their cost of living?
Yeah.
Who is paying 30% on rent? Nobody. Everyone is paying a lot more. So we have to really make affordability a big issue. And then the other thing that we need to think about just in general, I know I'm going on for a long time, but you asked me an important question.
I did. Listen, the time is yours, friend. This is great.
I will say, we have to also, in respect to two things. Number one, we need to recognize that we are not in the digital future. We are in the digital present. It is here now. So there are certain things that we need to latch onto. I'm a big techie guy. I love that kind of stuff. We need to embrace tech. We need to not have our future be defined by big tech. That can't be. It has to be defined a lot more by our tech. And so there are certain things. Number one, quality broadband needs to be a human right, an absolute and utter human right. Because individuals who do not have really high quality broadband, they're limited. And that is something that we cannot allow to happen. Number two, we need to make coding, computer programming, something that we teach in our schools as an essential thing. Because those people who have that are going to be the ones who are going to get the jobs in the future, and they're going to be the ones that are going to make the businesses of the future. We're in that kind of digital world. Social media needs to be regulated. We are killing each other online. We are quote tweeting our way to like destruction, and that needs to change, and there are restraints that need to happen. Finally, the thing I'm going to say is this. We need to start to talk about equity, and we need to start to get it. And in order to do that, it is very important for all of us who want, not equality, but equity, to be able to talk about it in a way that we understand the benefits of it. So what I mean by that is that right now what happens is when we talk about equity, when we say, we want racial justice or we want justice in respect to, gender equality and all that stuff, what ends up happening is there's a whole group, a swath of people who then feel like, oh, this is going to be a takeaway from me. You're going to give to X, you're going to give away from me. And you know what? They're wrong, and we can yell at them, and we can tell them they're stupid. Or what we can do is we can try to relinquish the fear that lives inside them. And what we could tell them is that what we're trying to do as a society is that we're trying to recognize the fact that it's not enough for us to be at the starting line. It is imperative and important for all of us to be able to cross the finish line with dignity. And when we're able to cross the finish line, when everybody's able to get to that finish line, that's when there's equity. But there's another thing that we need to add. When there is equity, that is when society thrives. For instance, I will give you just 2 quick facts, just pertaining to women. If women are, contribute as equally as men in the labor market, it's $100 billion extra dollars a year in the economy. When women are 10% of a corporate leadership is female, 24% greater economic activity, 47% better corporate dividend. And there are facts and stats that support what happens when more black people get involved, more indigenous people get involved. It's more talent. It's good for everybody. So we have to learn to not only fight for equity, get equity, but be able to articulate it in a way that we let people know that this is good for all of us. Do not be afraid. And that's why I think, people like us, artists coming in who have empathy, who smell the audience, who could see what's going on. I think it's really important. I think it's important.
I agree. And I so appreciate your passion and dedication to being part of this much needed change in our world right now. Like you said, it's not the future. This is where we're at. So my question for you, before we let you go, because this is, and thanks again for joining us.
Yeah, for sure. Anytime.
Talk to you. So have you always had a passion for politics and activism? Even because you have an incredibly established performing career, stage, screen. Has this been something that you've always been interested in because you are so well versed in it?
Yeah, always. And you have to think about it. The world that I was in and the world that we're in. It is a belief in a better present, and that's why we do it. There is an idealism that lives there, and the other thing that's also really important is that there are so many disparate kind of elements of myself. I feel there's so many things in myself, and this has always been a part of me that I've had, that I've known about, that has been singing a song. And now it's screaming, and that's how I feel about it. So, yeah.
Well, we're definitely rooting for you. You can go to www.alimomen.ca, find out how you can support, find out how you can be part of your volunteers. Yes.
Yeah, we're looking for volunteers. Oh, especially actors. Y'all want to call? You want to make some phone calls? You want a script? I got a script. You can.
Most influential part of your career.
Yeah. I mean, you can put it on the resume. I don't know how far it'll get you, but we got that. We're looking for volunteers, and we're just trying to. It's important, Let's not forget that these institutions are comprised of human beings, are comprised of people. So, let's put some people that we're feeling, or people that are aligned and understand and are that cohabitate with us, and we are who we are. So.
Yeah, and I feel like in our community we kind of feel removed from those kind of not institutions, but kind of we feel like, oh well, this is the world you live in. It's very different from the world we live in. So how can you understand? We're not the same as sports. Why are you treating us? Why?
I will tell you though, politics is like show business in the sense that you have a wild idea. And you need to gather the people around the idea, and you need people to believe in the idea, and then you need money for the idea, and then you need people to come see the idea. So it's very, very similar. I will say one final thing before we go. The thing about artists is this. There are 4 types of human action. There is the helpless act, which is what artists do all the time, where it's bad for you, good for others. We just do it. I will do it. I don't want money. I will do it. Right? And then there's the bandit act, which is good for you, bad for others. That's evil. That's nefarious. There's the stupid act, which is just bad for you, bad for others, which is, I think, what Doug Ford does every day. But then there's the intelligent act. It's the act that is both good for you and both good for others. And I think as artists, we need to realize that, know how powerful you are, Know how worthy you are. Know that what you're doing is not a helpless act, that what you're doing is indeed an intelligent act, that you are giving, and that you should be, in many respects, asking for something in return. In fact, I think this is something that should spread to everybody in this world. There is a subset of people that are, there's so much disparity in this world right now, so much income disparity, like it's crazy. And those individuals are acting in a way that's bandit-like, right? Because they say, I'm just gonna take in a damn right. So how can we start to act in a way that is highly intelligent, that we say, we're doing X, and therefore we should get Y? That's being smart. So we gotta be more like that. Yeah.
I agree. Oh, the show tonight is just so fucking empowering and inspiring. Like I'm vibrating. I'm so like pumped.
Well, I'm so appreciative that you're doing this.
Well, listen, I mean, we're big fans of what you're doing and all of the advocacy you've done for our community. So
I'm a fan of you.
Stop it! Never stop it.
You're advocating. Look at this show. Look at the people you bring on here. Good for you. It's amazing. Honestly, Jenny, like honestly, who cares about me? Look at you.
Thanks, pal. I appreciate
I
that.
mean it.
And also, if somebody called my house to ask for support behind a candidate, I would want an actor. They actually know how to talk to people. So I think there's an advantage.
Yeah, I guess so. And you know what? I love if someone underestimates me because I'm, who's this artist guy? Try it.
Come for me.
I dare you.
Yeah, I dare you. I love that. Ali
Yeah.
Momen, thank you so much. We wish you all the best. Check out alimomen.ca so you can throw your support behind him. I have done it. You should do it too.
Yeah.
Ali, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And when I can get a tech coaching with you for this camera situation.
I'll set this up. We got 10 minutes. I'll do it for you in 10 minutes. We got
Amazing. Done.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Future Member of Parliament, Ali Momen, thank you so much. All the best. And
See ya.
we'll stay tuned.
All right.
Okay, take care.
See ya.
Bye.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jasmine Huang, and I'm a Toronto-based actor, dancer, singer, and choreographer. I'm so excited to be sharing with you one of my most recent dance videos, which is called Blossom in Ice, or in Mandarin, Feng Mei Ao Xue. In Chinese culture, the plum blossom is a symbol of perseverance, because plum blossoms can blossom even in the harshest and coldest of weather. Considering everything that's going on in the world right now with COVID-19 and these human rights issues that are happening in the world, it's a really tough time for all of us. And I wanted to send a message of positivity that with perseverance and with time, we will get through these times together. Thank you so much, Singular Sensation, for having me and allowing me to share this piece, especially at this time, considering all of the Asian hate that has been happening recently. So I am a very proud Chinese Canadian, and I've been studying traditional Chinese dance since the age of 4. And I'm so happy to be able to share just a snippet of my heritage with you all today. So with that, I hope that you are all taking care of yourselves, taking care of those around you, and I hope that you enjoy this piece. Thank you.
Thank you so much to Jasmine Huang for that beautiful piece and for her words. Jasmine's actually a student of mine, and I've been working with her for the past year. And look out for her. She is a badass. Earlier, we talked about trying things, not being perfect, and that's what I'm about to do. Right now, I was fangirling over Samantha and Joella from the Black Pledge earlier and didn't set this up for y'all. So just pretend it didn't happen. How about that? No, nothing happened. Nothing happened. Oh, hi, it's me again. It was enthralling, wasn't it, Patrick? And thank you guys all for tuning in and joining us live. We appreciate the support. And we have a very exciting announcement next episode on April 6th. So don't miss it. So we have been talking about our wellness segment this episode. It is with a brilliant young woman, Sierra Holder. She is a performer. She is one of the co-founders of Diva Day. She also is the host of a podcast called Chunky Coyote. And like literally, we talked all afternoon. We'll post the longer version of our conversation on our YouTube channel. If you don't subscribe to us on YouTube, find us at Singular Sensation Online. Hit the bell so you get notified every time we upload something cool. Because we like to do that and we want to keep you up to date on what's going on. So here I present to you a section of my conversation with Sierra Holder. Enjoy. So you were just out west. What were you working on it there?
I was dancing in a new Nickelodeon movie that's gonna come out in like probably a few months, I think. I'm not sure when exactly. But it's called the J Team. I think I'm allowed to say that now. I think so. Other people are, so.
This is breaking news, you guys.
News today, right now. Yeah, so I was out there for like 6 weeks and dancing more than I have in a year. So
how is that kind of reintroduction?
Honestly, it's so funny that like we're talking about mindfulness practices and things because that was a real test. I think like when I grew up dancing, I've been dancing since I was 3 and I've just like never known a life without it. And during the pandemic, just like not doing anything and like really allowing myself to rest and be like, it's fine if I'm not, training constantly. It's okay. We're just going to like allow ourselves to chill and we need to just like do whatever it is that I can handle minute to minute. And then like being thrown into like full throttle, like we learned 5 dances in a day and a half. And then, and then went really hard and cleaned it like minutely for 2 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
Shooting it, like my body was just like not.
It was not ready. It was not ready.
I was like, I'm not 17 anymore. Like I can't just like, pick it up and go. Like my, and also my brain too. I was like, oh, I have, a lot more understanding of like my anxiety and I have a lot more like imposter syndrome and feeling like I had a lot of self-doubt and was just like constantly getting in my own way and being like, I don't deserve to be here. Like everybody is looking at me and being like, what the heck is she doing here? Like, how did she get this job? Like all of it, especially because a lot of the other dancers were like 17 to 20. And then there were 4 of us that were like 24 and 26. And it just like felt very like different and scary and me being like, oh my gosh, like I am not in, like this is not the way that I normally am. And when I'm like, working a lot and dancing a lot and taking classes and like, my brain even just like learning choreo and like really fast and remembering it and having it just like getting into your body and all of that stuff. Like I was dealing with a lot of just like pure panic and being like, I shouldn't be here. And thinking that everyone was like staring at me and being like, wow, she's so bad. I can't believe she's not here. Or I can't believe she is here. And I don't know, after like a week, I was like, I really am getting in my own way. And I'm spending the time that I could be, asking questions and really focusing on the choreography. I'm taking the time that I could be doing that and I'm replacing it with panicking and like kind of shooting myself in the foot a little bit and being like, I am so busy worried about what I look like that I just like can't even focus on learning any of this. And I need all my focus right now. I need all of it to be on dancing, and remembering that like dance is something that I love to do and that I felt so lucky to be there, and consistently like robbing myself of that joy and excitement because of, fear and anxiety and self-doubt and being like, I don't deserve this, all of that stuff. So I was, after, quite some time of not being very kind to myself, I was like, okay, what are my tools? I reached out to my friends because, the people, it's so easy for people outside of you who love you to be like, hey, this isn't true. And I think community care is like so important.
Yes.
Because you can't do it on your own all the time. You just can't. And for a long time, I thought I could. I was like, I don't need anyone. It's fine. I can be here to like help you.
Girl.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are like that. You're like, I can take care of other people, but they don't have to take care of me because that would be too much.
Yeah, no.
A burden. And also like if you're a perfectionist, which I also think a lot of like dancers and creative types are, you're like, I'm always perfect. I always have to come off as perfect. And that means nothing is ever wrong. And
drop a comment if you're relating to this. Oh my gosh, I feel like you're in such good company.
Yeah,
all of this.
It's such a huge lie that we've been told, that we have to like appear together all the time, especially with like concepts of like professionalism. You're like, what does it mean to be professional? Like not human? Because a lot of the time, the things that we are eliminating from our personalities in professional settings is like the parts that make us like superhuman and relatable, and being like, yeah, sometimes you roll up to rehearsal and like you're gonna make a mistake, or like you just haven't gotten it yet. And you ask a lot of questions because you're not perfect. And even like emotionally as well, like sometimes you're like just sad.
I love that we're talking because you are in this business. You are a working performer and like a community leader. Like we could talk about so much. We could talk the whole show really about everything that you do. But I love talking about it because it's in real time. It's applicable to what we do and what you're saying, like that imposter syndrome being on set, especially after how long. And I'm sure that you were in very good company, but because we don't talk about that kind of stuff, because we need to be the most on and at our best, when really, like, imagine if you were like, hey, I'm feeling a little bit this or that way. Can you imagine a conversation that would probably erupt? You mentioned reaching out, which is a huge one. And we love that for all the community here. What are some other tools in your sort of survival bag that you find helpful?
That's a good question. I think like learning how to meditate. Like I love guided meditations. They always give me something, even if I'm like, am I doing this right? Because I feel like you just never know, right? And you're like, am I supposed and then you think about some other stuff and then you're like, oh shit, I'm meditating.
The mountain's gone. The mountain is gone. I'm in the grocery store.
But even if it's just like, remembering to like take a deep breath is like super, it just like changes everything. I think when I think about because I have anxiety, I'm like, I'm holding my breath like all the time.
Yeah, for sure. Like literally.
And my shoulders live up here.
Earrings.
And I'm like, that all of my ballet teachers ever are like, Sierra, your shoulders are earrings, so put them down. And I'm like, okay. So then I've moved it to like the center of my back between my shoulder blades. And I'm like, why does that hurt all the time? Tension. And just like noticing if your breath is shallow, which a lot of the time it is. Like, when was the last time you just like let your belly expand and have like a big deep breath? That's like Yeah, step one. I love to like journal. That's a nice thing. Sometimes, whether or not it's like in a physical journal or like in your cell phone, like if you just have a thought, you can put it in your notes. It doesn't have to go anywhere or be anything. It's just like there. And like movement, but movement in a way that feels like deeply authentic to you, which something I learned from Josh Doig. One of the things that I always have taken with me from him is this thing called bedroom dancing, which is basically like you just put on a song that makes you happy, or like that makes you feel good, and you just move, just like flail your body around in like the silliest way, no structure, no judgment, like just, and it can be as small or as big as you want it to be. And that has like changed my life, and I would encourage everyone to try it because it's literally saved my life so many times when I'm just like, especially during the pandemic, like just putting on music and like, you know,
moving around.
Yeah. And you're like, no, it doesn't have to be good. It doesn't have to look nice because it's not for anyone or anything. Like just flail. It like really honors your inner child, I feel like. And all of a sudden you're like smiling and laughing because you like can't believe how silly you're being, but that is like such a freeing, like chest opening,
like authentic
thing. Yeah. Things being hard does not mean they're like better or more valuable. Like you don't have to be so hard.
Well, and that's such a thing. Like you have to suffer for your art. You have to struggle. The notion of the starving artist. But it's like, what if we didn't place our well-being below our productivity?
Yeah.
Which I think is something that the pandemic has kind of flipped on its head a little bit. It's like, so what do I do? What do I do with myself now? Because we're all, I think, in this community as artists and performers, we're so attached to our work, to our career, because it is so personal. Like
Absolutely.
It is.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, wait, who am I without that? Which is where this segment came from. And learning how to honor and recognize and get to know who we are as a person. And I
think more and more, especially like why I have become so interested in like sort of like wellness and mindfulness, is for a long time, like I didn't really think that the like wellness or mindfulness world was something that I could participate in. Like it all just seemed like too hard, I guess, or like very restrictive, and just like inaccessible. And then I don't know, I guess in the pandemic, I found like a couple of like movement Pilates teachers that are a part of this like new, maybe not new wave, but like more authentic wave of like wellness and mindfulness, and being like, let's talk about authenticity and like honoring body, and like, let's talk about why we care for ourselves. And the fact that if you are a person who like cares about your community and wants to contribute, if you don't take care of yourself, then you can't. And how like caring for yourself and like making sure that you are prioritizing your own joy and your own wellness is and should be a part of your activism. And like if you don't have the energy to do anything, and if you are mentally and physically and emotionally drained and exhausted and like working at a deficit all the time, you can't effectively participate in the revolution. You can't. You just can't do it, and you cannot care for your community in the way that you would want to. And so I have recently like signed up for a like Pilates movement teacher training program, which is like really exciting.
I love Pilates.
Me too, but I also love the version of Pilates that has all of these like anti-oppression things in mind.
Wow.
So this movement school, I think it's like based in Hamilton, I want to say. They're called Good Body Feel, if you want to like look them up, because also they offer like really amazing classes.
We'll put their contact in. We'll put their contact in so you guys can all check it out.
But they have a program, and it's like all run by like queer femmes of color, and all of their movement and like their ethos is all based in like anti-oppression and making sure that classes and movement is coming from a place that is like informed about these things. And I don't know, I'm just like, that is super exciting, because once I have a little bit more knowledge about like the muscles in the body and like all of that stuff, then I can give back to like the BIPOC community that is always like struggling and suffering and not prioritizing themselves, because we're trying to teach people how to not murder us and stuff, and hate us for no reason. That like release movement helps release trauma and like gets you connected to yourself. I hope that more people of color are able to prioritize their own wellness and well-being, because oftentimes we don't. My therapist talks about like the muscles, and she's like, listen, you're, you know, the muscle in you that is like hardworking and, you know, cares about other people and like all of that stuff, she's overdeveloped. Okay. Like we don't have to, we don't need to work on her anymore. She's very strong, actually maybe a little too strong. Yeah. What we do need to work on is like maybe the version of you that like has to set more boundaries, or like, you know, prioritizes joy, or like any of that stuff. And I'm like, I would invite people to think about like what muscles in themselves are overdeveloped or maybe a little too strong. And maybe think about the ones that are weaker, and or not weaker, but just like less developed and have had less attention.
Oh, I love that.
And the other muscle, like it won't go away. Like if you are a person who really is always thinking about others and you start thinking about yourself, I think a lot of people, myself included, get very scared that all of a sudden you're just only going to be thinking about yourself. Not true, because it's that muscle again is still very strong.
I love that. And I hope that everyone writes that down. Take notes, people. This is a note-taking segment. I've just so loved chatting with you. We've talked about so much. And I really appreciate like the authenticity and the vulnerability of what you've talked to us about, and your honesty and openness. Because I think that it's such a shared experience in a lot of ways, like the imposter syndrome and the self-talk and this need to be selfless and not knowing how to ask for help. Like, I mean, I'm feeling it anyway. So if nothing else, people, I'm benefiting from this, but I know I'm not alone. I'm very excited. So it's a visualization into a version of like a bedroom dance.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I will invite you now to close your eyes if that feels comfy. And maybe if you want to, you can place a hand on your heart and on your lower belly. And just start by checking in with yourself and ask yourself, where am I at and what do I need? I think a lot of the time we take for granted that we exist in our own bodies, and we forget to really check in with ourselves and ask ourselves that question. I do all the time. Okay, so I invite you to like breathe deeply, feel your belly rise and fall. And I'd like you to visualize yourself lying on your back on a beautiful green hill. It's a beautiful sunny day, kind of like today. Some light clouds in the sky, but they aren't thick enough to block out any of the sunlight. You look to your left and then you look to your right. You're the only person on the hill. A light breeze blows gently, moving your hair, and the blades of grass sway. The sunlight is so warm on your skin, and you look up at the vast blue sky and you feel so content. As you continue to be held by the warmth and breeze and calm and contentment, you feel light, and then lighter, and then you feel so light that your body begins to lift off of the grass, and you float up and away from the beeping car sound. And you float up into the gorgeous blue sky, and you find that you can walk and you can run and jump and twirl. You're delighted that you are lucky, lucky you. You are getting to experience this magical moment. Oh, and we're just floating up and away from all of the city noise.
It's an authentic Toronto experience, everyone.
And you are so excited that you are getting to experience this magical moment on a perfect day. You take a big, long sip of air, and then you exhale, and then you begin to dance.
I've spent a lot of time looking out of hotel windows, seeing the trees concave.
Oh, dang.
I know the metro system inside out. Paris never changes. I know my way.
Well, we're going to continue this dance. And Sierra Holder, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I hope that you find a song and continue this bedroom dance after the show is over tonight. Get with it tomorrow. And be sure to check out Sierra on the Instagram. We've got DJ down there, so we work with them. And this is her personal account. I'm going to continue this dance, and we're going to go into our next segment. Sierra, thank you so much. All the best with your future wellness. You're going to take over the world, and I can't wait.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much to Sierra Holder for her wonderful conversation, her words, and that great bedroom dance. You know what would make a great bedroom dance number? Maya Killtron. So you definitely want to check her out, mayakilltron.com, grab some music and do your own bedroom dance. What a way to start a day. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you to our guests, Joella Crichton and Samantha Walks from the Black Pledge Collective. Thank you to Ali Momen. Thank you to our musical guest, Maya Killtron, and of course to Sierra Holder. Our next show will be April the 6th. We will be joined by Trevor Campbell to talk about his You Made Me Queer podcast. We will also be joined by musical guest Leah Elise Kennelly. You can hear her every episode on our credits, singing her single Iconic, now available on her EP Light and Dark, available through Bandcamp. We will also be joined by not financial consultant, but he does consulting for IG Wealth Management. Adam Malcolm will be talking to us about finances. It is tax time, everyone's favorite time of the year, but Adam is going to be joining us as a financial consultant to drop by here and there to help us through one of the most stressful things about life, money. And we will be joined for a wellness segment by Good Grief. And I can't wait for you all to join us again. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for your support all through the pandemic. We are 10 years old this month. Singular sensation. Insane. But hey, that's us, and we love it. Thank you all for joining us tonight. Thank you again to all of our guests, and we will see you next time on Monday, April the 6th. And don't forget, we have a special announcement, so don't miss it. And stay safe, stay healthy. Remember, you are more than your work. You are worth it, and we love you very much. Mwah! Good night, everyone.